One More Turn. Episode 106, Takes Two to Tango.
You're moping, Riley.
I'm not.
And pouting.
You're annoying, Hudson.
Carson's advice allowed you to fix the animation glitch, didn't it? I mean, sure, it was a pretense for you to be able to convince me that he is still as brilliant a programmer as you and many others believe.
I did it really to show you that he still has value just like Caleb, even if he's a child trapped in a man's body. If we brought them both in as partners...
Partners? Where is this coming from? After what you said to Carson yesterday, with Caleb and those two laser nitwits witnessing no less, I doubt they'd even consider it. It's fortunate that we don't either, but we don't want to alienate them all the same. At least, not until the Doe contract has been signed. Or have you forgotten that?
Oh, so Gary told you about yesterday.
I'm sure he told you he would. Why did you deviate from our plan?
Well, I may have only been on the phone with Carson for a few minutes, but as partners...
Let me remind you of the arrangement one more time. Gary leverages his rather unusual relationship with the brothers to get them to agree to the terms of the Doe contract. He uses those terms to then take over their company out from underneath them.
But Caleb and Carson are One More Turn solutions. I agree that neither of them are suited to running the business side of things, but the technical?
That's not what Gary wants. We need his cooperation, so we agreed to cut them out of the equation.
Okay, I get that to Gary's way of thinking, he's able to get back at these brothers who dated Bella against his wishes. Why don't we just give the Doe contract to Acme Smith and get them to the point where Carson and Caleb come to us to buy One More Turn solutions that folded? Gary still wins, yet...
Carson and Caleb got to you, didn't they? That's the real basis for your funk.
You're a funk.
You convinced yourself after a short conversation with Carson that they are all of this small town still hypes them up to be. You were shattered to learn almost as quickly that they're like you and all other people on this planet. Flawed. The townspeople saw this firsthand from the video, but they're in denial.
Except for you, Hudson's superior, no doubt.
Hardly. I should have pressed these points to you weeks ago, but I was hoping you'd come to these realizations yourself. See, I know you will not tolerate anyone or anything hurting this town, but I also know you need me to help you see how to do that. The last time you fell for someone like Carson...
Don't you dare.
It's only a matter of time before the scrambled audio from the video is restored by someone, somewhere in the world. It will bring Carson down and Caleb with him. If they're still in control of One More Turn solutions when that happens, this town hasn't a hope in hell of not drowning in the mud with them.
How would you have me, us, proceed?
Your improvisation that you had decided to give the Doe contract to Acme Smith was not your finest hour, to say the least. You were told they're One More Turn Solutions' biggest competitor, and that would set Carson off. If we're going to salvage this operation, you've got to convince Caleb to convince Carson that you've changed your mind.
I can't see why Caleb would agree to meet with me after...
Don't start second-guessing me now. Caleb is waiting patiently outside to talk to you about where to go from here. Caleb was waiting patiently outside to talk to you about where we go from here.
Before you open your yap of perpetual ineptitude...
You lowlanders sure know how to make guests feel welcome.
Know that I regret inadvertently telling Carson about how Gary cloned your cell.
Are you sure about that? How do I know you weren't just digging the knife deeper into his back when you told him about Acme Smith?
Why did you take the video that Gary got from your cell in the first place? It was an invasion of privacy.
And that was an evasion of my question.
Don't think for a minute that you passed the toll to take the high road. Why didn't you tell Carson that the footage of him embarrassing himself at your party was taken by you? Not even after he heard the truth of you standing there did you admit it and apologize.
Carson knows me better than anyone. We grew up in the same house, remember? He knows I'm not one to say I'm sorry and mean it, but rather act on it.
Then why didn't you seize the opportunity to demand that Gary take the video down? It wasn't his to upload to YouTube in the first place.
There are already 3 copies uploaded with other accounts on that site alone. One's with commentary, another even hasn't employed the creepiest of auto-tunes.
That doesn't negate your making a gesture.
Like how you were going to backdoor benefit from an initial public offering of One More Turn Solutions?
What?
Is that what your brain sounds like as it careens towards a blue screen of death?
You know nothing. You have proof of nothing.
My brother hasn't thought the dough contract through. A company as small as One More Turn Solutions has no business being part of an IPO. Sure, raising money is always helpful, but what I think the IPO is really about is having you disclose sensitive information to potential investors who may already be our competitors. Like your company, for example.
You're reading far too much into this. You must have misunderstood something Carson told you, something you read.
Nope. All of my understanding comes from the full dough contract that I was able to read for the first time off Carson's screen as I was writing down your mailing address.
You are letting your imagination run wild. Dough contract will equally benefit your company and mine, as partners will...
Equal? Partners? Oh, that's rich, lady. Embedded in the wording of the dough document is a clause that for one share of OMT sold of itself, you would be able to buy two. You could then leverage your controlling interest to remove Carson from management and place yourself in a position to buy it. What a way to rebrand your company's tired name with our wired one.
The contract doesn't say that I would buy 2 shares for every 1 share someone else bought, Caleb.
Then why would it be in there, Riley? You're the one who wrote it. You tried to manipulate my brother and I, and we'll have none of it. I'll be sure to tell Gary.
Gary wrote the dough contract.
Wait, why would he do that?
Who referred me to you?
What's your point?
Why would Gary continue doing business with you and your brother after not one, but then both of you broke his daughter's heart?
Did Gary not tell you that Bella broke up with Carson and then later me?
Do you agree then the time for questions is over and that it's time for some answers?
What do you think?
One More Turn. Written and created by Daniel Dan Q. Quick. Edited by Andrew Fuzzy Fractal 42 and Dark Cloud. Directed and produced by Daniel Dan Q. Quick. Episode 106, Takes 2 to Tango. Characters in order of appearance. Hudson voiced by Daniel Dan Q. Quick. Riley voiced by Stephanie McAlua. Caleb voiced by Michael Uber Marklar Bryant. Sounds courtesy freesound.org. Music by Kevin MacLeod. Visit the official One More Turn website at onemoreturn.net. Copyright Civilized Communication at civcom.net. On the next episode of One More Turn, Hudson begins to work both sides.
Caleb was waiting patiently outside to talk to you about where to go from here.
Why do I have a feeling this is not the first time you've said that to someone?
Max plays detective.
I saw Caleb talking to Riley at the blogger's office.
I knew as much. I set that meeting up.
Then I saw them kissing.
That was not part of the meeting setup.
And Carson works out an angle.
If you had had your plans for taking One More Turn Solutions public vetted by a lawyer...
Son of a Gail Berman.